I feel like I've been on this journey my whole life because it started with my name Talitha Cumi, which literally means little girl wake up. And I can't say it's been easy. There's been a lot of bumps and bruises along the way, but I believe life is all in your decision making. The IAM Talitha Cumi Show is a combination of things that I love to talk about, and I want to enlighten you, encourage you, and inspire you to be the best you can be with some help from me and my guests. Let's talk about it.
What's poppin', buddy? See, I got the leftovers from Auntie. Let's go ahead and crack these damn leftovers and make it good. It's a rib slider.
And we are live here at the Botham Jean Foundation Gala event, you guys. Did you know that the real New Year is not on January 1st? It's on March 20th. So the real New Year's Eve is March 19th, with New Year's Day being March 20th. So you guys don't worry if you haven't kept up your New Year's resolutions, because you still have a little bit of time. So is there anything that I left?
No, other than my name is pronounced Georgia Nay.
Georgia, I was pronouncing that all wrong. Georgia Nay. My bad. I hate when people pronounce my name wrong too.
Talitha Cumi.
Good afternoon. Our show this afternoon, I'm so used to saying tonight. Our show this afternoon has been sponsored in part by the Las Vegas Black Music Awards, Sunday, April 25th. If you would like to be a sponsor or volunteer or be a performance artist at the weekend events, go to www.lasvegasblackmusicawards.com or email us at foodforthesoulpresents@gmail.com. Hey y'all, hey, it is your girl Talitha Cumi, and I want to welcome you to the IAM Talitha Cumi Show on the Food for the Soul Media Group Network, and we are here today for a special Gumbo Mix Saturday afternoon show. We thank you so much for tuning in, and if you're new to the show, remember, you can catch us here at our normal time every Friday night at 7:30 p.m. on our Food for the Soul YouTube station, Food for the Soul Media Group FB page, and check out our re-air audio shows on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. Shout out to Quan with Gorilla Cross Media on the ones and twos, keeping us looking and sounding right. Shout out to my baby who is in the chat room right now. Our disclaimer, as always, these are our opinions, not fact, just our opinions, and some of the opinions of our guests are not always the opinions of the IAM Talitha Cumi Show, Food for the Soul Media Group, or Gorilla Cross Media. And if you want to weigh in, leave us a comment in the chat room or on our YouTube station or FB page.
And if you are tuning in on Facebook, please follow us and like our page, and make sure you share it. If you're watching us live on our Food for the Soul Media Group YouTube station, right now, hit the subscribe button for me. Also, go to our Instagram and follow us at Food for the Soul Media Group, and I am Talitha_Cumi.
We are looking for sponsors and donors to help keep our show a priority in bringing you great news, good discussions, and great guests. And we need you. If you're looking to be a guest or promote your business with us, go to foodforthesoulpresents@gmail.com or inbox us today. Last week, we had special guest poets, Creative Ken, Donovan Ladine, and AJ Houston on the show for my segment, The Double Take. So shout out to them.
Yes, shout out to them. I got a chance to catch the show while we were in Dallas, and so it was a really, really good show. So excited to have poets on for this month. They were awesome. On today's show, we are talking about stuff with our special co-host, Jen from Japan, and our topic for today is art versus life versus art. That's ending our National Poetry Month. So Jen from Japan, a poetic soul, event host, and world traveler, emerges from the vibrant tapestry of her roots in Tokyo, Japan. Raised in a military family, her journey led her to Okinawa, where she not only discovered her poetic voice, but also honed her hosting skills on the radio. With over 25 years in Japan, she has woven her artistic threads through diverse cultures. Her travels, spanning 16 countries and over 40 states, serve as the fertile ground inspiring her poetry. In 2018, she anchored herself in the artistic hub of Las Vegas, driven by a deep love for the arts and performance. For Jen, poetry is more than a craft, it's her passion, fueled by the boundless motivation found in her daughter. Her voice serves as a superpower, and she stands ready to share her poetic words with audiences worldwide. Welcome to the show, Jen.
Thank you. I
Hey,
appreciate you.
And I always ask, how does it feel when people read your bio?
I know. I was like, oh, that sounds great.
You're like, she sounds like an amazing woman. Who is she?
But, I just learned how to be like main character energy. So to hear it sometimes, it's still like, man.
You've
like,
done a lot, yeah.
But when you don't, you're just living in the moment. You just don't. So sometimes hearing the bio makes me just kind of go back over just like all of my life and all the things I've done. And I'm like, wild.
Well, congratulations, man. It's an impressive bio. I want to go ahead and get into it, you guys. And I just have really some random questions because I was just trying to think of stuff to talk about for our ending show. And I wanted to know if any of you guys follow hip hop and rap and like what's been going on with all the beefing with like Drake, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, Chris Brown, and Quavo from the Migos. And like, I don't typically talk about tea or gossip or anything like that, but it was important for me to talk about this topic because I feel like it's art versus life versus art, because I'm remembering Tupac and Biggie and the beef that happened, and both of them dying from that supposed beef, and then all the stuff we're finding out about Diddy and stuff. So my question is, why do you think that there's beef? Period. Like what typically starts all of the madness? Like when people are beefing, or these rappers are beefing, or these artists are beefing, what do you guys think starts that madness? And then I have a second question to follow up, but what do y'all think? Why is it for record sales? What is it for?
I think it's for publicity. I think it's to take the focus off of Diddy. I believe a lot of that. I honestly think that some industry superpowers may be wanting to take the focus off of that particular part of the industry.
Okay.
The Hollyweird part that they are captioning it. If they're saying that they're weird, so they're taking the focus off of a lot of things with these beefs that they're happening.
Yeah.
That are happening. Like for Chris Brown to get
Man,
golly, in the studio and rap and tell that dude Quavo, you just got bodied by a singer.
Golly.
Yeah, he slayed it.
golly.
But at the end of the day, I do think it's to take the focus off of something else.
Okay.
There's something bigger that we're not focusing on, that we're not paying attention to because we're too busy looking at these beefs that are going on.
I think it's because specifically because, first of all, we used to. I come from from a media background and journalism, where you actually did research before you formed an opinion, and where you actually studied and asked questions. That doesn't happen anymore. Now, as soon as someone hears something, they immediately go to social media, and now that is actual fact. And I just don't believe it. I think it's a bit disrespectful, actually, for people to think that the beef is always real. Sometimes it's not. These people have to trend. They need to get more views. They need to get more followers. They need to increase record sales. So in order to stay relevant, to stay at the top of the trending algorithm, they have to do something that's going to be outlandish. And I hate that it's always gossip or tea or the so-called beef. But to me, I just wish we could go back to just being talented and just allowing the public to make a choice that you're talented. Now, I listened to the track. He came with it. I'm just saying, I listened to it a couple times.
That in itself makes it a little more suspicious because he took the time out to elaborate on occurrences that happened in 2020. But at the same time that they released this diss track, did anybody know that Harvey Weinstein? What happened to Harvey Weinstein?
Oh yeah, they reversed his
how they reversed
just one of them. It's
right. But if you're too busy focusing on Chris Brown, you're not going to pay attention to this guy just got off on an aggravated charge.
On one
in one state,
On one.
because he's still going to do his time. That's why, when I see stuff like that, I definitely delve deeper, because if you just look at the comments, you'll say, "Oh my gosh, his charges were reversed." It was only in one state, and it was specifically because of what happened in that state in that courtroom. Yeah. So I think that we should do a little bit more due diligence before we just jump on the bandwagon and start riding the gravy train. If we don't really, research things, we can actually formulate an opinion that's not really based on all of the facts.
And so that's my second question then. I was going to ask about somebody behind quietly pulling the strings, and we're saying that we possibly think that. But how safe is that? Because like you said, Solid, we're forming opinions right away. Right? And so with the Tupac and Biggie, art versus live versus art, I feel like everybody got into the mix possibly because of what they felt, and they were emotional and all these things. So is that really safe for you to even pretend like you have beef? Because now if you're pretending like you got beef, now all the Chris Brown people is like, okay, so what's up, Quavo? What we doing? And then the
taking
Drake
into consideration that you're just asking hypothetical questions, and these aren't things that we were tasked to research, or we just want to provide some input and some feedback.
We're in the same boat. We haven't quite.
We haven't quite had an opportunity to research these things. But when you're looking at beefs, sometimes things that you do unintentionally just for likes or just for attention can be misconstrued and taken out of context. Maybe something was said or something was done that was supposed to be within the constraints of this is what we're doing, but you got a little personal with it, and then the other party caught it. The other party might have caught it and was like, okay, so this was just supposed to be, we're just doing this to take the focus off of things. But dude, you got a little personal by telling me, you hit my girl, or you just got bodied by a rap,
I think it's like I think it's definitely ego versus spirit, right?
Yes.
It comes down to it comes down to like how people what people are trying to do, who are they? Authenticity. And I feel like when you're really authentic to who you are and you genuinely walk in that, which a lot of people don't, and sometimes maybe we even struggle, you know what I mean, on certain paths, because we're gonna veer, we're gonna do certain things, and then you dangle shiny things along the way, so it becomes maybe you'll sway from your character, from who you are, and like you said, somebody gets personal.
They gaslight.
They gaslight. They're like, it started off as, oh, you know what, I'm gonna take advantage of the situation. Then it's like, oh, hold on.
No, that's not what I meant.
Now he's talking about my mama. Now he's talking about my girl. Now he's talking about, because people are ego versus spirit.
Exactly.
It hits them, and then something triggers, and now it becomes,
a
and that's what
bigger deal
everybody
than
wants.
it should have been.
So somebody behind the scenes was like, Chris, why you talking about this girl, dude? I just told you
and
to do a
Karuchi
little.
was like, I moved on with my life. I ain't
like,
messing with neither one
what
of
are y'all
y'all.
talking about? Why you bringing me back into me?
He was actually talking about Sweetie.
He was
talking about Sweetie.
Oh,
he was talking about
okay.
Sweetie. And she's not saying anything because it's just boosting her. I'm on BMF. Watch me.
So I'm going to be honest. I am so contained in my own little bubble.
Right. I'm like, mind your own business.
No
idea
who
business.
I am a super mind my own business.
Right.
Yeah. I'm like, I know people. I know what's going on. I think I was more invested in Biggie and Tupac in Japan,
of course,
than I was like
that was
here
coming.
Right. Because that's your feet. They're feeding you this information through, and so now like all people are like, oh, have you? I'm like, I kind of heard a little bit, and I'm not like, I kind of know what's going on, but at the same time, I'm like, I got a path I got going on, and my brain capacity to be able to like fuel the gossip. Like I'll hear about stuff. I'm alive. I hear about things, but it's just like my brain is like, all right, on to the next task, because I have so much to do, and my brain focuses on that.
It goes to show how easily distracted we are.
It'll be somebody else next week.
Oh yeah, tomorrow.
Megan Thee Stallion. Did you hear about her situation?
I heard, and I don't even want to.
She's the female P. Diddy.
So my next question is directed to Solid and Jen. What I want to know is, what is the true difference between being a lyricist or a spoken word artist and being a rapper? Like, why is there not a genre for a spoken word artist, like in the same vein as musical artists? I feel like you guys are similar, but so why is there the breaking down of it? Because they have maybe music behind them or something. Like, I don't know.
I think once again, I think it comes back to we've been conditioned to put things in boxes.
Okay.
We've been conditioned to label everything. We have to put everything. Well, this kind of fits in here, and this fits in here, and this fits in here. We want to organize everything. But if you've ever met a human, we are a mess.
Multifaceted,
We're a mess of glory, a mess of, like good, dark, and it's just a whole beautiful mess. And I think what happens is because you're trying to put things in, oh, well, that's not this and that's not this. And in reality, when I started doing music and exploring that, people would always tell me, Jen, poetry is music. It was the artist and the musicians that were telling me, like, because I was putting it in a box. Oh, I'm a poet, but I want to do music. And they're like, it's the same thing. What do you think lyrics are in a song? And what do you think these are? We just want to put them in boxes and say, this is what this is. In reality, I've seen a poet battle a rap, shout out to Obi, right? And he battled a lyricist, and he's a
wordsmith.
Listen, a wordsmith, and he can stand up with with the best of them. So that just shows, like, I don't know if there really is a difference besides
I think it's
names,
a difference for people that are artists, because when you're an artist, when you write, you write,
right,
and then when you speak, you speak. When you sing, you sing. When you put music with it, there's layers to it, and we addressed this. We actually talked about this on last week's show, and so at the end of the day, I think the differentiation comes with people with what they want to hear. Okay. But as an artist, we're creating and we're performing, and we just want to be heard, and we want to be seen, and we want to be respected. And you can call us whatever you want to call us, because no matter what, we're still creating. Yeah, that's the way I look at it.
But in the musical artist space, though, I'm just asking, why do you think that there is not a space for spoken word? Then why is there not a space in the fact that if
there
I'm a
is
music,
a space
if
for
I'm,
spoken
I'm
word.
talking
Is there a Grammy
I'm
for
talking
spoken
about
word? Yes, there's a Grammy for spoken word.
There's a Grammy now for spoken word, or there has been.
Yes, this
okay.
is so. There's two categories. There's one, like Obama won once before because he was a speech writer.
Okay.
So you have the spoken word as if you are doing audiobooks and you're doing speeches. And now we have a category where spoken word can actually win a Grammy. And you have spoken word with music and spoken word without music. Really? So we do have that. And that's the thing that's why I think we do what we do, because so many people are uneducated about it and they don't know those things. But we had to really fight for that. We had to have people. Shout out to Jay Ivy, who won the first spoken word Grammy, so we can recognize that. So there was actually a category for it, and shout out to all the people who were nominated. Queen Sheba was nominated, C-Bone Jones was nominated. We have many of our artists that have been nominated, and so what we want to do is to shine the light on that and give people an opportunity to meet these artists and to respect these artists for what it is that they actually do and what they bring to the table. So yeah, y'all study y'all spoken word. It's National Poetry Month, but we do this every day.
Yeah, because I got introduced to C-Bone Jones. Shout out to him. He was a
Yeah.
powerful.
That's a shirt.
Yeah, that's the shirt. Yeah,
absolutely.
What is it?
That is that
Spidiverse.
shirt.
Spidiverse.
So what is the real meaning of art imitating life and life imitating art, and why do we think that is? Like, how can, if you guys understand, how can there be so much irony in life imitating art or art imitating life? Like, first of all, where did we come up with the saying? And then how is it so?
I would like to make a comment. I would have to say, if you're taking a look at rap music, life imitating art, that's an art. Rap is an art. But so many artists live that life. You know what I'm saying? I carry my 12 in the back of,
Right.
They walk around with an AR-15. They'll drop an op. They're killing people left and right. It's just, and they actually live that lifestyle and they personify that lifestyle in their art. And the more that they live that lifestyle, the more creative that they seem to get with their art and their lyrics and the things that they do. And then they take those experiences and they go in the studio and they pour out what they're feeling. And that's my perception of how
And I think there's a lot of artists who don't live that life. They're not about that life. And they personify what they think is popular. And that's how they get dealt with on the streets by somebody who really is about that life.
Yeah,
and I keep telling people, you know, I come from a very, you know, questionable background myself, but I tell you, don't let that poetry stuff fool you, because I still have the same intellect.
Right.
But when you come from me in business and you forget and you think I'm just a poet and then I'm all about peace and love, but I got to protect myself. I got to protect my investment as well. So I think that when people forget who they're talking to or who they're talking about, and sometimes when, like he said Quavo wasn't really about it. You know, I don't know Quavo's business like that, but I know for a fact that I don't think we beef like that in the poetry.
No,
circuit.
yeah,
when
I've
it's
not heard that.
when it's slam, you leave it on the stage and you walk away. But when it's hip hop and it's rap, they take it literally and they take it to the streets. And these are the things that happen. But again, that's that person's mentality. That's the way that person thinks. That's the way that they behave. And sometimes it crosses the lines of professionalism. So I say, beware of mocking someone when you're not really about that life.
And then to take it to another level, life imitating art, you have to look at famous artists like Van Gogh. Van Gogh lived his life through his artwork, which is some of the most priceless. He has some of the most priceless pieces. If you listen to Chopin, Chopin's music is an imitation of his life, how he felt when he was suicidal. He wrote Saturday. So different pieces. So, and even some of our actresses and actors, Denzel Washington in Training Day. In order for Denzel to play that part, Denzel took on that personality, and his wife said, I can't deal with him while he's making this movie. So when you are looking at how life is imitating art and art is imitating life, you have to look at what the artist is producing. Yeah, that's what I think.
And I was thinking about that, and the reason why I brought it up is just because I remember Biggie and Tupac doing videos and songs that talked about their own death. I remember that very distinctly. I remember this. I remember that distinctly.
And we can look
like,
back at the tapes now, and it's really important. That's why I do peace and love poetry, because I could really do some really angry, violent poetry, but I don't want to speak that into existence. And I also think that we need to be careful, because the spoken word is something that goes back before writing. So we need to really know the power of words, and you are changing the dynamics of the universe when you speak things. And so we have to be careful what we say, how we say it,
have to be
and
careful.
how we deliver
things.
the message specifically as artists and as professionals. So,
I think it's
hope
so
to see more growth in that area with some
that
people.
part. And I think it's amazing to see that turn even in, you see music now where a lot of people are being more intentional with what they're saying and how they're sharing. So you're saying if it imitates life, and depending on like what kind of content you're creating, are you creating it from your imagination, from a desire, just creativity, or are you creating it from a place of hurt and experience and things like that? And so I try to stay for myself. There's some things that I've created in my mind and put onto a piece. There are some things that come directly from how I'm feeling. And I understand energy and how we can exchange that energy, and also how important it is, like you said, with the words that you share and the things that you say. Spelling is spells, and those types of things matter. So when you're mindful of that concept and you realize what I say is going to be like echoed through the universe, through time and space, millions of people, thousands, whatever you're, one person, this thought and this message is going to be put out. So now this person's thinking that. So now you've created this energy around that. So when you're saying people talk about their deaths and things like that, I'm very mindful about what I say and how I say it because of that. Because if this song, if this poem, if this piece of work is to be echoed throughout ages, I want to make sure the message that I'm saying is only going to be good for my soul, my family's soul, and everything. So that way we're carried in a certain way versus
Legacy.
me just putting it out there. And I'm very mindful of that thought and just being wary of how powerful that is when you put these thoughts and these things out into the space, So
Definitely. I agree.
And with that being said, you guys, we are going to take a short commercial break. And when we come back, more from the Gumbo Mix Special Saturday edition.
That made me.
People regularly choose to go without legal help simply because they believe they can't afford to protect their rights. Having a law firm in your corner isn't just a good idea, it's a necessity in certain situations. No one thinks about legal services during the happy, fun, exciting times, but we all encounter specific events in life that get complicated and messy. Legal Shield is available to help you navigate the legal matters that follow any stage of life, including getting married, financial decisions such as purchasing a home, family additions, living with teenagers, and end-of-life planning. Legal Shield helps you navigate through all of the legal stuff that life throws at you by giving you easy, affordable access to an entire law firm. The days of only getting as much justice as you can afford are over. Legal Shield is changing how people access legal help by putting experienced attorneys on your side for one low monthly fee. There's an easier, more affordable way to protect your life and your rights. Legal Shield. Rest easy knowing your legal rights are protected. Legal Shield has you covered for life's biggest occasions by addressing your legal needs at every stage of life.
And we're back. If you just joined us, thank you for tuning into the I Am Talitha Cumi Show, the Gumbo Mix on Food for the Soul Media Group, and this special Saturday edition. Our show today has been sponsored in part by Legal Shield. Need a lawyer, but don't think you can afford it? Contact Terry Harrison, your friendly Legal Shield independent associate. You can contact her via email at iamterryharrison@gmail.com or check out her website, www.terryharrison.wearelegalshield.com, or give her a call at 660-525-7737. So my segment is What's Up Vegas, and this is National Poetry Month, and we are poets, spoken word artists, and entertainers here in the community. There's so much that has been going on. We celebrated the power of poetry. Shout out to Beyond the Neon and Ashley Vargas, one of our artists who were featured at the Power of Poetry. She celebrated her 4th anniversary with Beyond the Neon. Y'all can follow her on social media at BTN. And we also want to shout out Creative Ken, who was one of our guests last week. She has her family open mic. You can follow her at Creative Ken. They have an open mic that's going to be coming up. We just had one April 26th. The next one is going to be May 17th. And then we also have Elle Hope. She's got a new video out. We want to definitely give her shout outs. And Spotlight Poetry LV. There's an open mic scheduled on May 2nd. MVP and the Falcon have their event on Monday nights over at, what's the name of his venue? Kev Loves, yes.
Kev Loves.
And then don't forget about the Truth Spot, and they're going to be coming back with all of their events. So there is so much going on. Definitely follow all of our poets on social media. You can follow me on Follow the Fro, and I typically will share all of the events because there are just so many. I hear people come to Las Vegas and say, "Where's the poetry scene?" I'm like, we're out there. We're definitely spread out, but we have a great strong network, and we want to make sure that you can find us if you need us. So just hashtag poetry or go on to Eventbrite to find all the upcoming events.
All right. And so is that all that we're talking about, Solid? Are we talking about, I really want to, as we close the month out, I wanted to find out why you think poetry and art specifically, what you think about poetry and art specifically here in Las Vegas, what you think about it, and then why is it needed? Like, why do we care that why do we care about poetry?
Well, I care about poetry. First of all, spoken word helped to save my life. I started journaling when I was at the Safe House, and I teach poetry workshops. So I teach poetry workshops in the school. Shout out to Poetry Promise, the organization that helped to bring the power of poetry to light here in Las Vegas. And we go out into the Clark County school districts and the Parks and Recreation and do after school programs. We do Nevada Reading Week. And I think that poetry is a form of healthy self-expression. What I found and working with the youth here in Las Vegas, that there's a lot of crime and violence and trauma, and the children are not necessarily feeling or being heard. And so we offer poetry and spoken word as a way to allow you to express yourself through writing. And if you would like to learn how to share it orally, we can help with that as well. But just being able to write out your thoughts, just being able to put it down on paper is very therapeutic. It actually helped me go through the process. And I found, in listening to many of our poets, that they've experienced something that just kind of, didn't sit right with them, and they had to write it down. And when they get up on stage and they relate their stories, somebody in the audience is usually going to resonate with that. Okay. And so I feel like poetry is a lifesaver for most people, but it also is the first layer of most of the songs that are written. Most songs are written, are poetry. And it's just so many different levels. You can become a teaching artist, you can actually publish, you can become a speaker. We show that with the power of poetry. So many of our artists have a variety of talents, and most of the time poetry is like the what do they say, the gateway. Poetry is the gateway drug, I think, for artists, and it just gives you an opportunity to express yourself, be heard, be seen, and feel some love and feel some good energy, some good positive energy.
And I can see that. I can see that. All that. I'm waiting for my snaps for Jean. So Kay, what you got?
Okay, so my segment is called "What You Talking About?" What you talking about, Willis?
Yeah, that part.
So the big thing that we've been hearing in the news a lot is they're talking about the TikTok ban.
Yes.
One of the first things that I did when you tasked me with getting a little more information on what's going on, how it's going to affect us, and how I wanted to deliver this is I wanted to do my due diligence in finding out how it would actually affect me.
Okay.
Because I am a TikTok user. I like TikTok. I like some of the information that they provide. One of the things that they did share is that the ban itself would not, it's used by over 170 million Americans, and most likely it won't disappear.
Okay.
It's not going to disappear from your phone, even if there is an eventual ban that's done, and if it does take effect, but it would disappear from Apple and the Google App Store. Okay. So if you don't already have it, then you won't have the ability to go in and download it, which means some users who are not familiar with it won't get it.
Okay.
And another reason, another thing that I inquired about was why? Why are you even banning TikTok? Yeah. And it's a twofold story. The first part, I get it. They consider it as a national security risk.
Okay.
They think that because with the Protecting Americans Data from Foreign Adversaries Act of 2024, that would prohibit. You would think that's something totally different. Protecting Americans from data, Foreign Adversaries Act of 2024. So you would think that would be foreign adversaries going on to the social media accounts, finding out how people are existing or how they are operating in America, finding out what our weaknesses are. That is not even it.
Okay.
That's not even it. The Protecting Americans Data from Foreign Adversaries Act of 2024 is an act that would prevent data brokers from selling or otherwise making available American sensitive information to the People's Republic of China, North Korea, Russia, and Iran, or entities controlled by them. Okay. So that is basically, that act is to prevent the distribution of PII to our adversaries.
Okay.
But unfortunately, that's too late because of the dark web. And all of our information is being sold. I got a notification the other day that my social security number had been compromised. I said, well, good luck with that. You know? So the only way, according to this ban that's being proposed by the current administration, the only way that TikTok could stay in operation is if it were sold.
Okay.
And it's owned by an organization called ByteDance. And ByteDance is China-based. And the owner of TikTok said it doesn't have plans to sell the social media service. And if a new law that requires it to either divest ownership of the popular app within 12 months or face a U.S. ban, he's not selling.
Okay.
So after he signs the law into ban, they're still not going to sell. So that's going to be something that's going to play out. If they're not going to sell their company, it's not going to affect the people who already have an account.
Okay.
It's just going to, I guess, stop additional people from being able to log onto the app and have access to TikTok. But I don't know how that's gonna. I don't know how that's gonna weigh in, because you can create multiple accounts if you have a profile. So if I have an account and you're my friend and you can't download it, I can just create an account for you.
Oh, okay.
Right.
And then that person can actually
They can go on their
they can
phone
go
and
on there and then pull it up and run it from their own phone.
I'm pretty
even
sure.
though you
But they can't download it. That's going to be the problem. They can't download it. But can you go to www? I don't know. We'll have to see how that's going to play out. But you have people right now you have parents that are saying, my daughter or my child isn't going to survive without TikTok, because it is a platform.
Yeah.
A lot of people are making money off of TikTok. A lot of resources are provided. Like they have a herbal book that you can buy off of TikTok that gives you all the natural remedies, like Dr. Sebi. If you know anything about Dr. Sebi, it has all of these recipes on the natural herbs that you can buy or that you can grow in your own garden to help you heal certain ailments. And these are things that they don't want you to know. And another thing about this ban is the U.S. felt that the FBI did an investigation and they had an issue with the platform could spread extremist content, nude images, and other material seen as offensive to Somali culture and Islam.
Okay.
Yeah. So they have if the Islamic culture is offended by TikTok, and so are some of the Somalian cultures. But my view of that is, this is America. We have freedom of speech. If you don't want to see it, stay off of it. However, the problem with that is so many people have Facebook, Instagram, and even though TikTok is its own platform, people go in and they download certain videos or certain segments, and then they post them on Facebook, those other media,
or Instagram.
And then
absolutely,
they scan and they see it.
Everybody is seeing it.
So maybe they should do that. Stop making it where you can download the content.
Yeah, maybe so.
That
I can agree with that. And so we're gonna watch that TikTok because I know that's affecting a lot of people. So, and that's the reason why I wanted to talk about that. But I want to go because we don't have a whole lot of time. I want to go to Jen. I want to and thank you for that, Kay. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I want to talk to Jen about this poetry world. Like, how different are things here in the United States from some of the places you've traveled to and where you're from when it comes to poetry? Is it hot over there? Is there a difference in how they approach that world versus here?
So being in Japan, I don't speak fluent Japanese. I speak broken Japanese, so I can have basic conversations and things like that. And I write my poetry in English. So if I just wanted to have a baseline. So being in Japan, I was in theater growing up. And I was born on a military base, so I was around a lot of Americans from all over the United States. And I had a little bit of poetry I would use more as a therapeutic thing when I was younger to write. When I got into my 20s, I started performing and sharing it more to audiences. A friend of mine started an open mic on the base. And when I started performing my poetry, that's when I got the bug of like, I wanted to keep doing that. Mm-hmm. Now, being in Japan, there wasn't an outlet for me because, well, I didn't know of the time and, you know, social media and, you know, I'm an 80s baby, so 84, you know what I mean? So I was in a time where like, you know, a lot of things weren't shared, you know, early on, and you kind of, you know, you had to find things the hard way, or the harder way. Now where everything's at a push of a button.
Right.
So it got to a place where I was like, you know what? My background, not only did I work for the military, I used to work with kids, Boys and Girls Club, elementary school. When I shifted into events, I started doing club events, and then I honed in those skills. So I kind of merged those things together from like all of my experiences. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just start my own show. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't, I didn't have a show like in the States where you can just go to an open mic and go on a Saturday, and every Saturday, every Monday, every Tuesday. For me, it was like, oh, my friend's doing a show in 3 months, you know, and I haven't ever been to one in years or something like that. And then it was like, instead of trying to look for something, I just created a space. I created a space. That's why Okinawa was so important in my journey, because that's when I fully connected. Everything came together after 20 some years living overseas in Japan. I was in Okinawa like, you know what? It's time to just have a space, because over there, like I said, there wasn't a space for that. It took me going to Virginia, going to an open mic to see that, you know what? Let me just go ahead and make this happen, and let me create a space so I can perform poetry versus me looking for a space. I was like, wait, I host events and I've hosted events and at least organized them. So why can't I create my own? And that was hard for me. I'm not going to lie. It was hard for me to talk on the mic. I would be like, hey, thanks for being here. You know, like it was very just like, there's people here. That's amazing, you know? And then getting into radio probably soon after that was what clicked it for me, where it was like, it all came together. I got on the radio, and then it was like, that helped me hone my poetic skills. So it helped me be a better host for my open mic that I created. And then as I would start every show, I would get a chance to perform my own piece.
Okay.
And that's where poetry kind of came full circle. You know, I kind of went the long way about it. But yeah, that's what happened. So it really, there wasn't a space. I created a space.
Okay. And it was well received.
It was, because my targeted audience were Americans. Well, it was actually, let me rephrase. It was just people in Okinawa who wanted to be a part of a creative space. So I had military members that would come out to my open mic every month. And then I started having Japanese nationals. My DJ was actually Japanese. He used to play neo soul. Yeah. He was actually Okinawan. He would play neo soul. A friend of mine from Mississippi came in there and said, "Who's the DJ? Man, he's playing everything." I said, "You see that little Okinawan guy over there in the corner?" I was like, that's the DJ. He was like, and I said, listen, I was like, you know, different cultures, you know, travel across, you know, oceans. Yes. And I'm like, this gentleman knows, you know, like he's never been a part of an open mic, but he knows how to DJ. So I introduced him to poetry and open mic. He said, man, I've never been to anything like this in Japan. So it was really cool to be able to bridge the gap of different cultures, to be able to bring together these foreigners that maybe never had that experience, and then take what I experienced in Virginia and say, I wanted to, you know, kind of mash it all together. And then that's where I created Lyrical Lounge with a friend of mine. And that was where my poetic side really started to bloom and blossom, was through Lyrical Lounge.
So what made you land here, though? What made you land instead of going somewhere, like instead of being in Virginia or whatever? What made you land in Las
Vegas?
Yeah.
Well, I've never been to Vegas. When I was in high school, my homegirl moved to Vegas. She said, girl,
you got to go to Vegas.
You got to come to Vegas. She said, when you graduate high school, you need to come to college over here because it's a ball. And I said, ooh, okay. Never happened. I stayed in Japan. And then after I got out of my marriage, I was 34 or so. And I remember I was just like, you know what? No, it was 33. You know what? I'm not married anymore. I don't have kids. Why don't I go to a country where they can intake my message or hear what I, me as an artist versus me trying to cater my artistry to, to do a Japanese poem. I was like, you know what, let me just go somewhere. I could have went to England, I could have went to, I was like, I was thinking, and I was like, you know what, I'm an American citizen, by military birth. I was like, let me go back to the States. I came to Vegas just by complete, why not? There were a couple of friends here. I had no family or anything here, but I did have friends here. And I was like, let's just do it. Worst case scenario, I gave myself a 5-year plan. If it didn't work out, I'd go back to Japan with a bigger network. And if it did work out, whatever that was at 5 years, I would just grow into that. And I passed my 5 years probably a few months ago, maybe about last year, fall or so. That was my 5 months, and so last year was my 5 years. And I was like, I think I'll stick around.
Well, in those 5 years, I've seen a lot of Japanese nationals or people from Japan embrace what's going on here, the rap music. They have Japanese rappers.
Listen,
they have Japanese
in Japan. Absolutely,
artists.
they do. Let me not say that they didn't have artists and hip hop and stuff like that. It's beautiful. It's amazing. I recorded my first song with a Japanese producer. And so for me, absolutely, just because they're not here doesn't mean they're not creating their own art and stuff like that. But I guess I came to a place where I was like, I'm gonna go, I'm in English, so I'm gonna go back to United States and see what happens. And I'm multicultural myself, so I'm like, I know wherever I go, I'm gonna be fine. Wherever I go in the world, wherever I end up, I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna be around the people I need to be around, and I'm gonna grow. And poetry just grew even more here in Vegas for me.
Well, we thank you so much. We are running out of time, so I'm going to forego my last question and throw it over to Solid.
Okay, so before you bless the mic, Jen, tell us if you have anything coming up and how can we follow you?
Yeah, so I have an open mic that I host at Newell Dispensary. So we do that May 4th is that show. It'll start about 8 p.m. It is cannabis friendly. You do not have to consume, but it is you can smoke on property.
They have a lounge.
Yes. We have a lounge and we have a courtyard. We're on tribal lands. So the Paiute tribe, this is their business, and I work for them. And I'm just grateful that I'm just grateful to be a part of the team, that they've given me that opportunity to get on that mic. So May 4th.
And that's NUWU.
Yes.
New
New
She talks all about it on her Instagram page, which is
Jen from Japan. You can find me on everything, Jen from Japan. I even have a TikTok, but I do not use it that much.
You should.
I am just not I don't know. Not that I'm not. Let me not say that. My brain, the way it works, it's everywhere. But I do have everything. Twitch. I have everything. I just don't utilize. I use more Instagram, more Facebook, and I'm actually way better in person because I don't post everything online.
You gotta hold on to your TikTok. You might be able to sell it.
You're right, and that's what everybody's been telling me. I need to jump on that and take advantage of that because I could really monetize. So me in content making. I have thousands and hundreds and just pictures and content, but I'm like, I'll forget about it. I won't post. And I'm like, you gotta be better, Jen. But I have everything.
Thank you. So next up to the mic, the phenomenal Jen from Japan. Perfect. Snaps and claps and everything.
Arigato, Jen.
You are watching the I Am Talitha Cumi show. We have our spoken word artist, Jen from Japan, coming up next.
This is actually one of my new pieces, and so I'm gonna read this one for you guys. This was something that I wrote when I was in Detroit recently. I went to a funeral, And it really inspired and really pulled out of a lot of different emotions and thoughts. And this is called Life and Death. Death is a powerful thing. It can make us cry, yell, and sing. It can cause pain, misery, and laughter during, before, and way long after. It has the ability to pull such strong emotions out of us, inspires colorful language, makes us want to fight, fuss, and cuss. Back and forth our feelings go, polarity, our emotions flow. So let it. You have to let it flow. But for some, they won't let go. Man, woman, child, we've been taught toxic tendencies, like being tough is not showing how you feel, that being strong means you won't cry, and you can't cry, you just got to deal. But if we only knew how much that hurts us more, keeping those emotions inside, it only eats us alive. So let it out. Scream, shout, cry, write it down. Any way to let those feelings flow. Heard from a poet once, emotion is energy in motion. Emotion is energy in motion. So let it move through you. Release it to the earth. Ride it like a wave in the ocean. Speak until your feelings are spoken, because it is your right. We're here to experience the dark and the light. It's part of who we are. We are here to create the life we truly want with intention and attention. To where our energy goes is where we elevate and really grow. So let's focus on self and be selfish, because we all have dreams, wants, and desires. So don't ever let the darkness of the world diminish that fire. Use it and make that inner flame burn brighter and brighter and brighter. Do not dim your light, ever. So let's keep shining through the rough, through the tough. Let's keep shining, because you are way more than enough. Even through the difficult times, even now, through destruction, disrespect, or death, don't forget to take a breath. Don't forget to take a breath. Don't forget to breathe. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out, because you're still here and this life is so dear. This life is within you. Let your mind, body, and spirit be one, because your journey on earth is not done. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Once again, my name is Jen from Japan. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much for coming out. As we close out the show, please keep in mind, we are looking for positive artists who would like to have a live featured performance to end our show every week. We just need the music to have some substance and positivity. And if you're interested, you can email us at foodforthesoulpresents@gmail.com for more info, and you could be our next guest.
We hope you guys enjoyed tonight's show. The I Am Talitha Cumi Show podcast is a women's health podcast from a Black woman's novice perspective. Talitha Cumi are biblical words found in the Bible. When Jesus Christ walked the earth performing miracles, a rich ruler came to him and asked if he would heal his daughter. But before Jesus arrived to heal her, she had died. Once he saw her, he said, "She is not dead, but asleep." And he said 2 words, Talitha Cumi, which means little girl, wake up, and she woke up. Our show is an hour-long visual podcast themed monthly with current events, social issues, and spirituality in a hope to create ongoing dialogue to promote awareness and positive change. So you guys continue to tune in. We are mixing it up next month. So you guys stay tuned in for that. And make sure to tune in every Friday at 7:30 p.m. on our YouTube station or FB page, Food for the Soul Media Group. And make sure to subscribe to the station. And don't forget to follow us on all of our social media platforms. I am Talitha Cumi, Food for the Soul Media Group, and at K2 Unique. And follow Solid at Solid Truth LV and at Follow The Fro, THA. Our show tonight has been sponsored in part by the Orlay Collective, Big Bobby B Beats, Legal Shield, K Griffiths LLC, and Solid Truth LLC. You guys, we will see you guys later. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Next
Peace
Friday.
and love.